Hey everybody, it's Georgia Rose from Zencuda, and here I am in the soul space. It must be Monday night at 7 o'clock. So as you can see, I am still in my home studio, which isn't a bad thing. But let me just fix some lighting here. That looks better. Um, yeah, I actually am mobile now. I know you guys know I had a little bit of an accident. I'm kind of got an injury going on. I'll bore you guys with my story while waiting for people to come in. And so it was actually quite a couple of weeks in a wheelchair, on crutches. But I'll tell you, you really get to know who is kind and who really, is your buddy, right? Because so many people came that were helping me and doing stuff for me. And it was really, really cool. Just going to fix some equipment right now because, as you know, I'm not in the studio, so I don't have a Bobby. I don't have a Bobby Lucera looking out for me. Okay. So going to just share the show. And if you're all out there um, with me, just share the show on your feeds. Want to get as many people as we can into the soul space. Ta-da, posted. Okay. So I'm going to watch my comments over here, and I've got my cameras and all my stuff here. Very, very good. All right. So, so I had this 2 weeks where I injured myself actually falling over my own feet in my home. So be careful out there, guys, especially if you're wearing those really expensive sneakers that are supposed to help your back, because they're really good for that. Unless you trip over your own feet, then they're not so good for that. So anyway, I have what I'm calling an Uranian moment, because one moment everything was fine, and then all of a sudden everything was not so fine. So boy, my lighting really looks terrible tonight. So it fits right in with what's going on in the cosmos right now. Really some interesting things. So just give me a minute while I adjust, and I apologize because hey, we're all informal around here in the soul space. And we can do what we need to do. Get going. Okay. This works. All righty. I think I am here. Okay. So it's a little too much lighting. Let me fix my shade. I can give you guys lighting lessons while I'm doing here in the soul space. All right. So I want to talk about the astrology tonight because I got to tell you, we're headed into eclipse season. We just had a new moon in Pisces this weekend, and that was a whopper. Would love to hear your stories about that. I know yesterday I felt so much energy. It was also a clock change where I am here in New York. So it was just a very disorienting day for me. I don't know if you guys felt that, but I felt like yesterday, March 10th, was super disorienting day. So let me say hi to some people, see who is on right now. Would love to hear your stories about the energy. Um, Sarah says hi. Hi, Sarah. Elaine. Hey, Elaine. I saw that you put your house on the market, and I'm so sorry to see you go, but we will still do our thing on the internet. And I'm going to come to you before you move anyway. Hey, Joanne, Michelle Allen. Finally, I'm here. Yes, I am feeling better. I know, tripping over the feet, right? So, but that's the energy. So 1 minute I'm completely fine. It's a Saturday morning. I had plans to go see my sister that day. And I just went to measure something on the wall so I could hang something. And when I went to turn around, boom, 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 tripped right over my feet. So it's damn expensive sneakers that you wear. Anyway, so because they're big. So anyway, ended up at urgent care. My sister had to come rescue me and my niece. And there started my saga of doctor appointments and MRIs, and literally in a wheelchair, couldn't even barely step into my shower. Boy, I'll tell you, it really gives you lessons in life. And I know exactly why it happened. It happened because I really was needing to go into my own space and be really super quiet. And for like 2.5 weeks, just be only in my own energy and really not out in the world, not driving, not doing anything, not leaving the house. And it was really great for my creativity. I have some really great things coming up on the soul space here on the show and also on the YouTube channel, which you guys are going to love. And it was just a really, really cool experience to be in my own energy and have the luxury of meditating and doing certain things, because even though I was still working a full-time job from home, it I wasn't running out doing other things. I didn't have all those other things that we busy ourselves with. So I had a tremendous amount of time to really sit back and think about what is the correct use of my energy. And it's so appropriate because that's exactly what the energy is right now out in the world. And I'd love to hear from all of you. Have you been having revelations about how you use your energy, where you really want to spend your energy and your time, and what's really important and valuable to you? And I'm going to go through the astrology tonight and really talk about that a little bit. This is a time of great change for all of us. It is a time of change that will be permanent. So we just had that new moon in Pisces, which set off a lot of energy. That energy was about revealing and starting to reveal, what do I need to grow out of in my life, and where do I really want to be going towards? What's my trajectory? And it brings in a lot of energy of, the energy of 2022 and 2023, when we had a lot of energy that was like that control freedom axis, right? We wanted to be liberated, but we kept getting stuck and control situations and things controlling us. Now that stuck part is going to dissolve, and what happens is we start to become unbound. And that can be a really good thing, or it can be, a not so good thing. If you allow yourself to become unbound in the negative, anxiety, fear, etc., that's not the best use of the energy. But if you allow yourself to become boundless and to be able to really see the impossible, this is a time that we're coming on the next few months when we can really dream our dreams into reality, and we can manifest what we want into form, into potential. So it's really bringing potential into form. Where is it in your life that you have thought about doing something, and kind of, slowly but surely your own potentials being revealed to you? And now you can actually see how you can bring that potential into form. What is your potential? Is it something that you want to do in business? Is it something that you want to do in your personal life? Is it a relationship you want to bring to a different level? What are you really looking to grow beyond? And I did a video over the weekend. It was actually an edited video of a few videos that I strung together. But you can watch that on my Facebook page, Zenkuda Soul Space. And you can also go onto YouTube and watch my videos. The last podcast that I did was all about this energy. So now that we've passed that new moon in Pisces, I want to bring us into the eclipses and what they're really going to mean. What I can tell you is that the karmic energy of these eclipses, the first one being a lunar full moon eclipse on March 25th, and the second one being a solar full moon eclipse on April 8th. March 25th is in Libra, April 8th is in Aries. The March 25th full moon lunar eclipse is going to show us what we need to walk away from. Um, One of the questions that I asked in my last podcast, in my last videos, was, what do you need to set your sights on in order to emerge out of chaos? And we all have chaos somewhere in our life, whether that's something we bring in from the external that's not really ours, or whether that's a way that we have of being. In this energy with these eclipses, it's going to release us from something that is restraining us and holding us back, and it's going to bring us into the new energy. Mars and Venus are really playing a part in this eclipse, as are the North and South Node. So what you want to do is go on to cafeastrology.com or astro.com, plug in your birth date with the time and place, and get a free chart. Look where Aries and Libra are in your chart and what house they're in. And tonight I'm actually going to go through each house in the chart, where that Libran and Aries energy is for you, and where you can really pinpoint and decipher exactly what's going to change for you by looking at your chart. So we're going to jump into that. First, I want to look at the comments, see what you guys are doing and what your stuff is going on. Oh, very good, Marie. Welcome back. Anita, it's funny that you say that because the last 2 days I am so tired. And as you know, I was sick the week before I hurt my leg. And I'm like, is this from that virus, or is this because I'm just tired because my body is healing? But I feel very, very tired, low energy, almost like mental and physical exhaustion. And I never like that ever. I'm very high energy. So that's really interesting that you say that. Um, so Oh, one of Liz says her parents were Aries and Libra. Anne says she's drained. Yeah. So that's the thing. I think the energy is draining us because we have so much energy pushing us into a new phase. And this energy is super, super important. What I will tell you is that this energy is almost like karmic, but it's very strong and potent, and it's almost for many of us going to feel like, wow, this is what I've been waiting my whole life to do. This is like we've been on the launch pad with a really long countdown for a couple of years, and now we can actually see the rocket starting to blast off. Very, very interesting energy. So I wanted just if you guys could put in the comments, because I'm watching myself on my iPad monitor and it looks like the video is super blurry, but it's not showing that way in my StreamYard. So if the video is blurry for you guys, I know a lot of you just listen. Um, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to jump into that in a minute. The other thing I want to say is this. Set your sights on what you need to do. Set your sights on the place you need to go in order to bring yourself out of that chaos. And by chaos, I mean you have a vision. There's something you really want to do. It's been on your mind. It could be something simple, like I want to remodel my house, or I want to paint a room, or it could be, I always wanted to go to school for this, or take a class in this. But every time you get a little bit further along with doing it, something comes in that knocks you out of it and puts you into distraction and busy energy or chaotic energy. That's what I mean by set your sights on what you need to step out of in order to step out of the chaos. Where do you need to look that is your future? Because this is all futuristic energy and it's all new phase, new emerging energy. And there's no words for me to use as to how important this is for all of us. This is super, super important. This is an energy of our inner parents are going to come out in order to understand how to heal the inner child and how to grow out of all those complexes and mechanisms that we have for self-protection that not only come from our childhood, but that we keep in play and keep rotating and keep revolving our lives around. It's that big. I mean, this is big, big energy if you use it right. So I'm going to go through the zodiac and tell you guys where this will be in your charts. Liz is saying she has a personal revolution for insight. Yeah, that's absolutely 1,000% what this is about. So the lunar eclipse comes in March 25th. And that eclipse comes in. And remember, between now and then, we have the spring equinox. We've got a bunch of planets in Aries that is all new phase energy. Usually when you look at a zodiac chart, like the planets are all over the chart. Right now, everything's in like every planet, which is direct, except April 1st, Mercury goes retrograde. But every planet is direct now. So the amount of forward motion and forward energy we have to utilize to manifest our dreams, our hopes, and what we really want to do, what our soul's intention is like off the charts, people. Off the chart. Take advantage of it. So the lunar eclipse comes in March 25th, and that is an energy of showing us exactly what we are going to move away from, what needs to be let go of. Now, that doesn't mean it's just going to happen and fall away. It's probably going to be really tough. You may want to grieve it. It's going to be something that we've been really attached to, but it's going to be something that needs to be released, let go of, break away in order for us to go to the new emergence that's going to happen on the solar eclipse. And eclipses are in play for months, so it may not be that this energy happens like in a day for you, but you're going to start to get the insights and the revelation, because that lunar eclipse in Libra is not only all about relationships. This is about relationship access, axis, AXIS. Depending on where it is in your chart and what house it's in your chart, it's going to be the relationship to something, a job, a person, a situation, the mother, the father, your life direction, your belief system. And I'm going to go through that. So let me hop on over and do that, because I got to watch the time, because the time always goes so fast when we're on our little soul space together. Michelle, huge transition in her life, but very anxious about where I will end up in a few months. Sarah says Aries in 12th, Libra in the 6th. Okay. So first, I just want to say, Michelle's saying that she's in a huge transition now. We are all in a huge transition now. For some of us, that's internal. For some of us, that's external. But every single human on the planet is in a huge transition. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that every human on the planet is aware and awakened to what's happening. There are people who are in deep transition, but they're in denial of it. They're going to go to escapism. They're going to drug or drink or have sex a lot or, escape into gaming or whatever. There's a lot of escapism on the planet right now. But right now, we are in a phase where we are all in transition. You can even see it in the governments, in the structures, in the things in this country and every country. They're saying goodbye to old ways and emerging into new relationships with other countries, with the way their people handle things, all kinds of stuff. So this is really a time of complete and total transition where we are letting go of something old that no longer serves us. It's moldy, it's decayed. We may feel some emotional flooding from that. That new moon in Pisces that we just had is all about that particular signature. The emotion flooding, becoming unbound, right? Not having a boundary, dissolving boundaries where they once were. That's the energy we're bringing into this eclipse season. Then we have the spring equinox on the 17th, which is all about new phase energy, welcoming in the new, change, rebirth, regeneration, revitalization, reorientation, regeneration in every way. And then right on the heels of that, on March 25th, the lunar eclipse in Libra comes in, which is a full moon about shedding. It is a full moon that this revelation that we gave you during the Pisces moon, that thing you had the emotional flooding for, that thing that you felt unbound about, those boundaries that dissolved for you. On the spring equinox, it started to show you the new way of emergence. Now, during the lunar eclipse, you're really going to let go of what is in the way of that complete and total emergence into a complete new direction on April 8th, the solar eclipse. So that's the timeline. That's the energy. So for someone like Sarah with 12th and 6th house, we're going to get to that in a minute. What I will say to all of you is, Colleen, huge transition, need to let go. Yep. I'm telling you, there's not a person on the planet not going through this. There's just people that think they're not. There's just the sleepwalkers, what some people refer to as the dead people. And that is also the contingent of life right now, human right now, that you are seeing the violence and the non-compassion and the no empathy and the polarization of a lot of things. Why is that? Because it's an energy of the inner child, right? So we all have an inner child. We all have formations and containers and environments and conditioning that we grew up with. A lot of that's in transition now, whether it comes out to be an external transition or an internal transition. That's what this is about, this energy. So for some people, when that occurs and they feel these transitions, they will go into fear because it's scary. Like somebody, I think Michelle just said, she's frightened about where she'll be in a few months. Yes, that's Pluto. Pluto is our fear. And because something's coming out of the depths and being brought into light with these eclipses, because eclipses are beginnings and endings, they bring things up from the depth. They bring out the reflection of something. The moon is our connection to the sun and the earth. It's how we operate and relate to everything through our own identity. So when we have eclipses and there's endings and beginnings, they're deep, deep things. And we'll feel fear because whether it's conscious awareness or subconscious, whether it's ego or soul, the energy is moving away from something that we have been attached to for a very long time. And so we get fearful, we get anxiety, we get the feelings. It's a really great time to start to have healings and do all those type of modalities. So yeah, it's emotional. Aaron says, I don't see Libra, but Aries, Moon, and Venus. Aries in the 8th house. If Aries is in the 8th, then Libra is going to be in the 2nd. Okay. So I am going to go to, okay, so I'm going to go through the houses here. And like I said, cafeastrology.com or Astro.com. If you know your time, place, and date of birth, plug it in and you'll get a free chart. You should all be printing out your charts if you're going to tune in to me here and on my YouTube channel and even on my social media, because then when I post, you can pull out your chart and say, oh, okay, she's talking about this. That's my first house. And if you're not sure what that is, you can put in the comments of that video, hey, Georgia, mine's first house. What does that mean? I will answer you. Okay. And that's how we're all going to really guide you with astrology together. We're a community here of Zenkuda. So I'm going to start out with the first house. And you might want to jot this down. The lunar eclipse is on March 25th. The solar eclipse is April 8th. The lunar eclipse is the letting go, moving away from something. The solar eclipse on April 8th is going to be revealed and start you emerging in the new direction. That is a very important solar eclipse in Aries, because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is our action. The Libra eclipse on the 25th is ruled by Venus. Venus is our attachments. Get it? Makes sense now, right? Okay, so here we go. Just looking at my notes, hang out. Okay. Sorry, just talk amongst yourselves. Sorry, I took so many notes today that I'm just looking them over. Just bear with me. Sorry, there's dead air. I've never done that before. I'm sorry. So if you have the solar eclipse in your first house and you've got the lunar eclipse, then would be in your seventh house. It's going to be all about relationships for you. This is going to be probably about, this is going to be solar eclipse in the first house in Aries is going to be, I'm ready to take up space in a relationship. I'm ready to move away from relationships that are not balanced for me, because the lunar eclipse is going to be in the seventh house. So if you've got Aries in the first house and Libra in the seventh house, this lunar and solar eclipse are going to be lunar eclipse moving away from whatever is not balanced in relationship for you. You're tired of a relationship that has an out of whack dominance, or an out of whack not speaking up enough. Either way, it's out of balance. You're going to move away from that. And when the solar eclipse happens in Aries, you're going to be ready to take up space in a more balanced way in relationships and change the way that that you need to take action in relationships. If you have the solar eclipse in your second house, and which is Aries in the second house, and the lunar eclipse in the eighth house, that sounds like Aaron. This is going to be coming into contact with personal needs, your self-preservation. How do you use protection mechanisms to stay safe, and where are you capable? This is going to be new relationships with yourself. Where do you need to say yes when you say no, and where do you need to start saying no when you usually say yes? It's the correct use of energy. So you're going to find that you need to get rid of certain attachments that keep you from actually merging in the way that you really want to merge with things, people, situations. So you're going to really be evaluating that correct use of energy and the way that you use your energy in your relationship with yourself to support your own needs, and the way that you use your relationship with yourself and others to keep yourself in self-preservation. sometimes those protection mechanisms aren't always good. So the lunar eclipse on the 8th is really moving away from those attachments of what's no longer beneficial to you. And you're probably going to cut off what's really, not balanced and what is making you feel deficient in some way. You're just going to cut it off at the lunar eclipse. And at the solar eclipse, you're going to realize the new way of being. If the solar eclipse Aries is in your 3rd house, which is April 8th, and if the lunar eclipse is in your 9th house, which is Libra, March 25th, this is going to be about opening new ways to communicate. You're going to be really curious about things. It would be a great time for you to start a new course of study or a modality, or if you have an aspect of travel or belief system that you want to delve into more. You want to take Reiki, you want to learn tarot, you want to go deeper into astrology. This is the time when that will be revealed to you. But before you do that, you have to let go of some of the belief systems that you hold now that prevent you from really being your authentic self and your belief systems. This could even be something just as simple as knowing your truth. How have I been communicating in my life that really doesn't allow me to show who I really am and my authentic belief system? How am I conforming to the consensus's belief systems? If the solar eclipse Aries is happening in your 4th house, that's on April 8th, and the lunar eclipse is happening in Libra in your 10th house, which is March 25th, you're going to get ready to make a new home for yourself. Now, that could be a physical home where you're actually moving, or it could be your own security, and you're going to take responsibility for actually making yourself more secure in new ways and finding that home from within. That 10th house lunar eclipse, Libra, on March 25th, is going to see you walking away from the direction that you thought was right for you. So your life direction is really going to switch up. Something that you thought was right for you, that you were headed towards, is going to probably flip flop, and you're really going to let go of expectations, almost like you've been allowing something to define your life that really wasn't yours. Like you allowed conditioning or something else from your past or your upbringing or someone else's belief system to really light your path and show you where you're supposed to go. And now in this energy, you're going to let go of that. It's going to be released sometimes in a very big and sudden way for all of us, these releases. And you're going to go towards a new direction based on those systems, those beliefs. If the solar eclipse is happening in your 5th house where you have Aries, that's April 8th, and the lunar eclipse is happening in your 11th house on March 25th, which is your Libra sector, this is going to be a time when you come out into the world. That solar eclipse is going to ignite you actually bringing something into form and making something real out in the world to show that you exist. This is shining your solar light, being authentic, and the things that you're going to let go of are communities and groups of people that maybe you once really resonated with and really believed in, but now those things are absolutely no longer in resonation with you, and you're going to break away from them. And the thing I wanted to say about whatever we're breaking away from and whatever we're moving away from, for all of us, these transitions, they're going to be pretty big. They're going to be pretty heavy in the sense that they're being broken apart by Uranus and Aquarian energy. So, and Aries, which wants new emergence, which is a fire sign. So what's happening is it isn't like this release comes like you wake up and you're like, you know what? I don't really like chocolate ice cream anymore. It's not like you wake up and you're like, I think I'm going to go buy some living room furniture. No, this is like you wake up and the living room caught fire, so you have to buy furniture. This is like you wake up and like there's no cocoa beans in the world, so you can never eat chocolate ice cream again. That's what this energy is like. It's going to be extreme. It's going to be sudden. And it's going to be an energy that takes us to a place where we suddenly have such a big, deep, impactful resonation and revelation that to go back is not even going to be an option. And we're not going to want to go back. So you're going to see a lot of things in politics in America change too, because a lot of campaigns are based on making things the way they were. That's going to completely switch over. Nothing's ever going back to the way it was in any way, shape, or form after this energy the next few months. So if your solar eclipse is happening in the sixth house and your lunar eclipse is happening in the 12th house, which means you have sixth house Aries, that solar eclipse on April 8th, and you've got 12th house Libra, which is the lunar eclipse on March 25th, then this is an energy where you're ready to create new and complete order in your life. You're going to want to let go of the chaos, the complaining, the place where people are critical of you or where you're self-critical. You're going to let that all go, and you're going to start to really put order and competence in your life, and you're going to emerge and realize how competent you've been in many areas, depending on whatever places that is in your chart. You're going to come in and let go of all that criticism, all the guilt, all the self-doubt, all of the idealism that you have that things have to be perfect, and you're going to embrace your own competence and accept the things that aren't perfect and see the beauty in them. That's what this transition is all about for sixth house Aries, 12th house Libra. If you're a seventh house Aries, then you're going to have the eclipse April 8th in your seventh house and the March 25th eclipse in Libra in your first house. So the solar eclipse is in seventh, lunar eclipse is in first. That seventh house, you're ready to, this is all about the relationship access. Remember, I said it in reverse. The first one that I did was Aries first house, Libra seventh house. Well, now this is Libra first house, Aries seventh house. This is the relationship axis in a chart. This is all about relationship for you. More than likely, you're going to start to relate in a completely different way in some major relationship in your life. Like you're done with the way it used to be and it's done. Either the relationship is done or the relationship is going to have a complete flip over. And in your first house, something about this relationship becomes revealed. Like you are no longer looking to continue the relationship the way it was. It's complete reordering and reorienting the relationship. All right. If the solar eclipse is in your eighth house and the lunar eclipse is in your second house. Hold on one second. I just got to find my place. Yeah, if the if the solar eclipse is in your second house, you've got the lunar eclipse in the eighth house. This is you're coming into contact with your personal needs. We talked about that before, right? But now it's going to be in reverse. It's going to be the opposite of what I said when we were talking about, I believe, the self-preservation. And you can play the tape back, all right? So, in other words, when I said in the beginning that we had, I'm going to go back in my notes because I know this gets a little confusing for you guys. When we had the solar eclipse in the second and the lunar eclipse in the eighth, that was what I said about you're going to come in contact with a relationship with yourself and the self-preservation dynamics and the self-preservation. So now, if it's the opposite, and the solar eclipse is in your in your eighth house, and the lunar eclipse in the second, then it's going to be all about relationship with other and how you have self-preservation mechanisms with others. Okay, and so on and so forth. So, if the solar eclipse is in hold on, we're getting there, guys. The third, if the solar eclipse is in the ninth and the lunar eclipse is in the third, this is going to be all about solar eclipse in the ninth, lunar eclipse in the third is going to be all about, like we said before, about belief systems. But now those belief systems are going to be really coming into play. When it was reversed, you were letting go of the belief systems and going into your own personal truth. Now, with the reverse, with the solar in the ninth and the lunar in the third, it's going to be letting go of communication systems and really speaking out about your belief systems and your own truth. You may also find quite a bit of travel with that axis as well. And a lot of times that travel doesn't have to be physical. It can be maybe you start shamanic journeying or astral traveling or something like that. So if I skipped anything, let me know in the comments. So the next one is if the solar eclipse is in the 10th house and the lunar eclipse is in the 4th house. The reverse of what we said before. The theme was home, right? And bringing home and security into yourself. Now this is about finding home in the outer world and maybe putting something in your life direction in your outer world into play, into emerging energy. And you're going to let go of the belief systems that you used to think needed to be in the outer world. So you see how this works and how the axis would be reversed, but the themes are the same. So if the solar eclipse is happening in the 11th house and the lunar eclipse is happening in the 5th house, then it would be the opposite of what we said before. Instead of bringing something into form out into the world, you're going to start to really change the way you are in your inner world, as far as the way that you speak to yourself and the criticisms and things that are showing you where you're not competent. You're going to let go of those things and you're going to bring yourself into a new relationship where you see your own competence, but it's going to be inner, not bringing it into the solar light. For the 12th house solar and the 1st house lunar, 12th house is Aries, 1st house is Libra. That's going to be an axis where something in your life that previously had no boundaries or was unbound is suddenly going to be brought into reality. It is an axis where your 12th house Aries and your 6th house Libra is going to be all about your daily routine. And it's also going to be about where in the world have you been so hyper criticized that you could not emerge new, that there were systems that you couldn't put in place and there was actions you couldn't take because you felt so incompetent and so criticized by your own conditioning or conditioning maybe from a parent or from someone in authority. This is all about you coming into your own agency and your own authority. So let me go back to my comments and see where you're all at. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. All right, because it does get confusing, but you can play it back. Yeah, really big energy. So you said you have Aries in the 8th, Aaron. So Aries in the eighth for you is going to be, like I said on the video, and you can play it back. Aries in the 8th is where the 8th house is our house of attachments and merging and desires. So if you have Aries in that house and the solar eclipse is there, it's going to emerge energy there where you're going to form the energy that you really want to have in merging with something and let go of the attachments that no longer serve you. The 2nd house is those self-preservation mechanisms that you're going to be releasing on March 25th. So I hope that makes sense. What does that mean? Laugh out loud, he says. So I'll give you an example for Aaron, so then you guys can apply it to what you need to do. So the 8th house, the themes of the 8th house are our desires, our attachments, the place we want to merge. And it also is a place of bringing things that are in the dark into light. Whatever's hidden is going to be exposed in the 8th house. So when we have a solar eclipse there, it's hitting Aaron's 8th house in Aries. That's going to mean a completely new emergence. So something once hidden is definitely going to be revealed. And because it's the lunar eclipse is in the 2nd house, which is where we form our values and our self-preservation mechanisms. What do we value? We value things that are meaningful to us. How do we arrive at what's meaningful to us? The things that make us feel safe and preserved and secure. That's what's meaningful to us. That's why the 2nd house is all about self-preservation and security, because it's the house of values. You can't have a value unless something makes you feel like it's valuable to you, it's meaningful, it's safe. So that axis is, what do I need to let go of in order to feel safe? And where have been my illusions, the things that have been in the dark that I thought kept me safe and were self-protection mechanisms? They're going to blow up right now. And you're going to be going to that 8th house for new emergence of, where do my attachments that I've used to have no longer serve me? And what are my new desires going to bring me in the emerging energy? I hope that explains it. So, and it's so funny because people come to me and they're like, I want to be an astrologer. I'm going to start studying. And I'm like, I hope you got 20 years. Because I'm on about year 14 and I'm still learning. I'm actually in a mentorship program now with somebody from Sweden trying to even go deeper. And it's a lot, let me tell you. Go to an astrologer. You'll be glad you did. Um, so Liz says she's got seventh house Aries, because seventh house is relationship house. So if the mother energy is coming in for you with seventh house Aries, then that means that it's all about the relationship with mother, and there's something there that you need to heal. That lunar eclipse is going to happen in your first house, which is really all about you and the new emerging energies of relationships and doing relationships in a different way in order to bring your life in a new direction. So relationship with mom, but reflected in bringing your own life in a new direction. It sounds like there's some really deep healing going on there for you, Liz, which is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Elaine, if you are 12th house Pisces, then you would be a first house Aries, right? Yeah. So that would be the first and seventh house for you. So if your Aries is in your first house, then again, that would be relationship with self, um, all about learning and new emergence ways in new direction in your life. Aries is rebirth, complete rebirth. And so it's very personal when you have that. And then the seventh house is Libra, which is all about the relationship. So you and Liz, it sounds like Liz said seventh house is Aries. So you and Liz are opposite. So while Liz's seventh house is solar, that's all relationship. That's going to be her relationships and balancing relationships. Relationships that were out of power, out of bounds and out of power for Liz are going to really be highlighted during the solar eclipse. And during the lunar eclipse, she's going to release something so that she can go in a new direction with her relationship with self. And the opposite for Elaine. All right. So hopefully this is all making sense to you guys. And you can put comments. Yeah, it's definitely emotional for you, Liz, definitely. And it depends on what other planets you have there too. So that's really what happens. And the North Node and the South Node are also really playing into this energy. So even if you don't look at your chart, just know that this is a time when something really big is going to be in transition for you. These eclipses are bringing huge releases and huge new emergence of new energy. And the reason why they're so huge is because right now the nodes of the moon are in Aries and Libra, where these eclipses are taking place retrospectively. So the nodes of the moon are the areas of our life where there are karma. They actually show us what we were brought into this lifetime, our soul's intention to complete and our soul's intention to release. So when you have eclipses with the same energy in the same signs of the zodiac as those nodes, it just amplifies this energy like 1,000 times. So this is a very, very huge energy. Also, for those of you who are watching and do practice astrology, whether it's professional or amateur, know that you also want to look in the chart as to where Mars and Venus are natally in your chart, because they will also give you a clue of exactly what's going to be affected by this eclipse season, because the lunar eclipse in Libra on March 25th is ruled by Venus, and the April 8th solar eclipse in Aries is ruled by Mars. Venus, again, is those value systems. It's the things that we are attached to because they protect us and nurture us and make us secure. And those are going to be released in this energy. Something that you've been holding on tight to is going to get blown apart. And then the emerging energy in Aries, which is Mars, is when that solar eclipse comes in. Now we're at a point where we're like, okay, I get it. I'm taking action. I'm bringing it forward. I'm emerging into this new, beautiful, new phase solar eclipse energy in Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac and rebirth. So this is heady times. And the best advice I can give everybody is take time to meditate, to be with yourself, be in your own energy. Use this beautiful energy of emergence that we have to bring yourself forward into what your soul's intention really is. And if you're thinking, I don't know what that is, I don't know, stop doing that. Sit quietly and just surrender to yourself and the energy, and it comes. When you're chasing it, you're never going to find that feeling, that knowingness, that message. But when you sit quietly in your own energy, light a candle, light a fire, play some beautiful music, just be in the energy of your own essence and God, soul, whatever you call higher power, then it all comes in to show you your life direction, your soul direction. And so I really implore all of you to take time out in this energy, because this is really about activating your soul's intention. Every single one of us was born to experience this energy at a different point in our life. There's a reason for that. That's not random. If you were born 20 years before or 20 years after, it would have been different. If I was born 30 years or 40 years before, I wouldn't be here for this energy. So God, the soul, wanted me to have this contracted time. Use it well. I'll probably be talking a little bit more about this next week on the Soul Space. I'm going to be doing some individual videos. If tonight was a little confusing for you, I'm going to drill it down in another video that's a little simple, where I'll be able to have the chart on the broadcast. And my intention during this time, March, April, and into the rest of 2024, is to bring everyone in the community of Zencuda Soul Space into a place where they're in connection with their soul space, and they know what their soul's intention is, because they've connected with themselves in their own private time, in their own beautiful space of soul. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. This has been actually the high point of my week, and I love spending time with you all. This is the energy of love that I source my life from. So please join me again next week at 7 o'clock. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff. We've got some great guests coming up in the next few weeks. Let's really try and get in touch with our soul space when the universe is giving us this amazing energy of support to bring us where we've always wanted to go. Home to source, home to ourselves, and home to our own soul space. Thanks so much. You can find me on Zencuda Official on Instagram, Zencuda on YouTube, Zencuda Soul Space on FaceTime, and right here, 7 o'clock every Monday night. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, it's Teresa from Tea Time. What's my show about? I interview people in the entertainment industry, producers, directors, actors, and guess what? My show is on every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Channel 20 on Optimum TV. So tune in, because it's fun, interesting, and exciting.
All right. Is everybody having a good time tonight or what? That's what I thought.
Hi everybody, I'm Stephen Michael. Come follow me every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Channel 115 on the Keeping It Real Stephen Michael Show. Come hang out with me and DJ Brian as we play your favorite music. We have your motivational messages, and I promise you, you'll leave a happier person. The show's all about faith, mental health awareness, and motivational messages. I'll see you every Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Channel 115, where the insanity begins.
And all your problems make you want to scream and shout. Keeping it real with Stephen Michael. Never give up, Stephen Michael.
Hi, I'm Georgia Rose, founder of Zencuda. You can watch me on the Soul Space podcast every Friday at noon on on Channel 20 for spiritual guidance. And as you all know, that is how I first opened into my own psychic gifts, was through the angelic realm, astrology. So we've got Mars and the Sun together in Scorpio, which creates a lot of combustion. In the astrological world, we call that a cazimi, and tarot. When the Four of Cups right side up, it means we have a lot of choices to make, and we're not looking at what's really being divinely given to us. We're too busy in the busyness of the choices to really see the divine intervention, the divine timing, and the divine guidance. We're the place. Watch the Soul Space podcast.